how to be slick with the jab and quick with the jab. Jab is super fundamental. If you don't have a good jab, especially in a closed stance, it's gonna be a real problem for you. Doesn't matter if you're boxing, MMA, maybe Muay Thai, you get away without it because they have the teep. But if you're especially MMA or a boxer, you're gonna need a jab. If you wanna fight on the street or be capable of defending yourself on the street, which is way more important, you're gonna need a jab, okay? It's a quick weapon. It's a quick weapon. It's the main setup that we're gonna use in order to set up all of our power weapons. It's also the closest thing to the target. If I'm fighting this pole, my back shoulder is obviously way further from the target than my front shoulder. Okay, so there's no way that that cross is gonna be as quick as that jab. Now, the biggest thing that I see, the biggest problem that I see, especially with newer people that are newer to this sport, newer to hand-to-hand combat, is they only have one jab. Their head is in one position when they throw the jab. And that is a problem because if your head is always in the same spot, the person knows not just where you are, but they know where you're going to be next. And that's how you die. So we got to make sure that we have different jabs from different positions. Number one is the basic. Your hands are up, you're in your stance, your weight is about in the middle of your feet, right? Your head is positioned in the middle of your feet like that. And we push out of our back toe into the front toe and we throw that jab straight out. Bang. There should be a little bit of a hip twitch there. Should keep your arm loose and make sure that you're aiming with the bigger knuckles in order to make sure that you're not breaking your hand by punching across with your pinky. That's the basic. I know most of you guys already understand this, so we'll move on quickly. The next position you're gonna need is a slip that I call the dip. Now, I'm sure different people have different terminology for that, but throwing the jab from here. Okay, so instead of having my head right on the line, right, I'm gonna be off the line to my right. Bang. And I don't move and then throw, but I throw while I'm moving. So right from here, boom. I bring that head off the line, bang, like that. Okay, and this is very, very useful, especially when people are trying to hit you with crosses, when people are trying to hit you with jabs. The cross is gonna come from over there, right? If I'm fighting a righty, his cross is gonna come from over there. So the further my head is over here, right, the harder it is for him to hit me with that cross or overhand or whatever rear punch. But if you only have those two, boom, boom, it's way easier for him to know what to do. My head keeps going that way. Okay, well, he's gonna throw a left hook and maybe that lands. That could be a problem, right? So I always need to play both sides of the line. Okay, so the next one will be the break jab, which a break looks like this. It's a little slip towards my lead shoulder. Okay, now we're really gonna uncork the shoulders, okay, like that. If we're gonna throw like a big hook or something, but for the jab, you don't need much. It actually happens as more of a lean, like that. Okay, so I'm just leaning my weight, my head, over top of my front foot, like that. That will slip me off the line, because if a person is throwing a jab at me, they're gonna be throwing a jab here, and if I do this, that jab is gonna just brush my ear, which is perfect. Okay, so I slip this side, and then I throw the jab at a bit of an upward angle. Boom, break, bang, 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 bang. Now, when I do this, I'm trying to split the guard, right? We're talking closed stance, but the jab should be coming up like that on the person. Right now, because I'm trying to split the guard, especially those of you that are boxers, your gloves are a little bit bigger, so it can be really helpful not to punch like this, but to punch like that. Okay, and that will just fit, right? I'm trying to use whatever weapon will fit in the hole the best, right? So when I slip this way, I want to fit right in between those arms, and that fist being vertical, okay, is going to fit in between the arms even better, right? So we have our basic jab, right? Boom. Okay, we've got our dip jab, boom, and then we've got our break jab, bang, okay, boom, bang, bang. All of these are good, but we could go on forever with this. Okay, I'm just gonna give you 2 more. Next one, we're gonna change the levels, right? So if I'm always throwing to the head, it's gonna be A, easier for him to read that, and B, I may not do exactly what I want with the jab. Maybe I wanna bring the guy's hands down. Maybe I wanna impact his gas tank a little bit and just stab into his guts. Okay, when if I'm throwing the jab to the body, a lot of the time the person's gonna bring that elbow down to block it. Or if they're unskilled, they'll like bring their hand down to block it, which is obviously worse. And it could be either side. They could be doing that with either side. So we need a jab to the body as well. Now when I throw the jab to the body, I do it on the dip side, okay? So I'm gonna bend this way. I don't want a body jab like this, okay? Because as you can see, even if I put my chin down, right, this puts me right in danger. There's a very vulnerable spot here for that right hand, okay? And even the hook, like everything upstairs is pretty open. But if I get under them and I dip while I'm doing that, very difficult to be hit here. Okay, if the person has a really good right hand, we throw that jab, bang, to the body, like a stab. Okay, and you can have a little bit of a downward angle, but I really try to punch straight across as much as possible, which will help me get under the line of their shoulders. Shoulders are around here, right? When we're fighting, and then I'm gonna drop down, boom, like that. And as I'm dropping, I'm throwing that jab and I'm doing a big step in, right? I could always pull that back, boom, or chain it to my right hand, bang, and bring that back foot in with me, and it really helps me to cover that distance. Now, we've got 4 different jabs, right? I'm throwing one punch, but I'm throwing it from 4 different positions in 4 different manners. Boom, 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 bang. And then we've got one more for you, okay? And this is gonna be like a rising jab. For this one, our hand needs to be a little lower. Now, if you don't have a lot of experience, don't bother putting your hands down. It's not gonna help you very much because you don't have the reaction time, you don't have the defensive acumen. Those of you that do, those of you that have been around for a bit now, you can risk dropping your front hand sometimes. Just make sure that you're ready to use that shoulder, elbow to deal with the cross that's possibly coming in, and the backhand to deal with the jab and the hook that are possibly coming in. Okay, now the benefit to having my hand way down here is it's an awkward thing to see coming, right? Instead of it being up here right in your field of view and going out, okay, it's way easier to perceive that than something like that comes from underneath. Whack, whack, whack. So my hand is down and my arm is a little bit bent. It's not straight, it's a little bit bent. And I'm gonna use the backs of my knuckles, bang, like that. Bang, whack, whack. And now I can use those same head movements. I can still use the break, I can still use the dip, I can stay on the line, and I can go to the body, right? So my hand down, right on the line, bang. Right on the dip side, bang. On the break side, ha, to the body, bang. Ha, 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 ha. Okay? If you have all of these tools, and then you chain them to your footwork, the guy's gonna be so annoyed trying to get away from this jab and counter you, he's not ready for that cross. He's gonna go right into the cross. He's gonna go right into the hook. And that's the purpose of the jab. Well, one of the main purposes of the jab, there's so many, but is to set things up. In MMA, sometimes you see guys get knocked out with the jab, not very often in boxing. If you watch bare knuckle boxing, it happens much more frequently. But it really sets the stage for the cross. Because if that's always in your face, right, bang, you don't really see the cross coming near as easily. And you may, in trying to get away from this super annoying fly that just keeps buzzing around, you may put your head in a real bad position. And bang! So, Don't let that be you. Let that be your opponent. Develop a very good jab, a very skilled jab. Be able to throw it from all different positions, all different situations. Understand what they want to counter you with. Okay, and then understand how to counter that counter. So you've got all the plans laid out. Okay, and then you can just let it fly when you're in that cage, when you're in that ring, or when that dude that's crazy comes and attacks you on the street, or challenges you to primal combat. Peace out. Bang!